And you're not going to move the boiler, you're not going to do any of that, but it's going down the hall, and you make a left, then you make a right. Then you go down another open area before I even get to the social. That's why I'm not even dealing with that end of the building.
Every funeral, when I have a lot of visitors here, and we have our meal down the hall.
That's the only place you have.
I tell people, you just start heading straight down the hall, but just keep following the turns. But I can see their eyes glaze over as soon as they feel like, oh, it's not straight down there. What do you mean? Am I going to get lost? It's
human nature that we will all go down one hall and make one turn and then feel we're lost. Try it in a medical building that does not have numbers on the door.
Go with what IKEA does and put the green arrows on the floor. So you
there you go. Oh, also with signage, especially in halls, the signs are perpendicular. Don't put the signs on the door. When I look down the hall, I can't see any signs. Perpendicular. Either outside the door or above the door. Every church, I always say, how'd you do with the signage? Oh, every door's got a sign on it.
You got to turn to look at it, is what you're saying.
Well, you got to walk down the hall to read each door. Sanctuary. I got 12 pages to go. No. We already did the Christian Ed wing, as I said. You know that the building shows well. It's warm and it's welcoming. It's just a little fluff here and there. And the big thing was the narthex just give me a little more breathing room in some fashion. Pastor, before I jump into this room, you did mention something about, it would be nice to have the church office larger. The only way you can do that is really by reconfiguring your offices, and I'm not sure you want to get into that whole thing. I don't know what those other two desks were in the church office.
We have we've made one a workstation, kind of like the way the desk is set up. I mean, we could open it up, but there'd be less space to work on.
Okay. I think you could probably redesign that room just the way it is, a little bit better, to give her a little more space maybe. Forget about storage. Somebody said, oh, the girl that was vacuuming or cleaning up, she said, oh, we need more storage. I don't. But there's really no way to reconfigure it unless you take over the choir room, the music office, and expand the church office into some of your space. And again, everything is a domino effect. I don't think I mentioned that in our conversation. But you start moving things around, and it's a domino effect. So if you move an office, you're displacing something else. And so there again, where does all this other stuff go? You might say, well, there's a prayer room. Again, be realistic, folks. Does the room get used? And if the answer is no, what other space do you need? We could use another meeting room. Bingo, that's it. Primary, secondary use. If you want to say it's a meeting room and a chapel, or a meeting room and a prayer room, that's fine. But what is it? If it's a prayer room, most people aren't going to use it unless they feel that they need to pray. So, look, your offices are pretty much the way they are. It's without spending a lot of money. Okay, sanctuary. The biggest thing with the sanctuary is, again, going back to flexibility. Boy, I'm driving that home tonight. Your space is not flexible. I think all of you realize that. And in today's world, there's different worship styles. You have different worship styles already. Many times there are different size worships. As an example is my home congregation. We do our Ash Wednesday services and Good Friday in the round, in the middle of our room. Because we have chairs, by the way. I should mention that. And what I'm talking about with chairs, and I will send information with my report on chairs, Actually, Souder is right here in Archibald, Ohio. You can go see chairs get made. The other big one is New Holland in Pennsylvania. We have the Souder chairs. We love them. They're padded seat and back, and they're stackable, 8 high, and they lock so they don't move all over the place. And we change the seating arrangement and seating design probably at least once a month. And sometimes we're at a 45, sometimes we're at a straight traditional, sometimes we're in an octagon. We do that in the summer. And the reason we do that in the summer is because we can seat roughly 220 in our sanctuary. And in the summer, you know, God goes on vacation, so does half the congregation. So we only worship like 70 in the summer. So what we did is we created an octagon or worship in the round, and everybody goes, this is great, it feels full. No, we just gave them first-class airline-style seating, and we just spread everything out, and we just rolled away 40, 50 chairs. Nobody notices. It's just,
So the altar's in the center?
Yep, for the summer worship, yep.
So your altar is movable?
Oh, as I said, our sanctuary is flexible. Our chancel is all flexible. We have a daycare center. And the funny thing is, I never knew they had graduation at daycare. But anyway, they do. And we have 120 kids in our daycare. And we have 250 that fit in, grandmas included, at graduation. So we have to make sure that room is flexible enough. And we have portable risers for little Johnny and little Susie that we put on in the chancel, on the platform. And it works out great.
I was going to say to that, I'm going to give a personal experience. My oldest sister worships in a congregational church that was 200 years old. The church burned down recently. They're worshiping in a fire hall while they're waiting to design a new building. In the fire hall, they had to worship in the round because that's the only way the chairs would fit. They had older members, and I'm talking in their 80s, saying, I didn't like it at first, but now I like seeing everybody.
Right.
I can see everybody, and I really
You don't
like
see the
this.
back of their head.
Yeah, and they said they
Exactly.
really like it, and that's going to become part of their design for their new building, that
Exactly.
flexibility. So it just, that gives more of a sense of community.
Going back to your contemporary service, and I know Pastor got real excited when we were talking about moving the contemporary service over there. But if this room becomes really flexible enough, you can design it that the contemporary service could still be here. Because now you can change the seating around. You might not want to. I don't know how many times they play, if they play every week or if they play once a month, I don't know. But you know, you can figure out what is the best seating arrangement so we're not moving them every Sunday. But you can change it out for different worship styles. The one thing that we found out, and we got a couple that were getting married, it was a second marriage for both, and they even said, we love your church because we put in 10 rows only. Because there wasn't that many people coming to the wedding. It was a second marriage for both. And they didn't want 300-seat sanctuary where everybody's just roaming around. They said it was nice and intimate, and they loved it. So we changed for a lot of different reasons.
Does your congregation use projection and screens and things?
We do not. It's set up for it. I made sure it was included in the design, but we for some reason, my congregation just hasn't. We've got audio, but we don't have screens.
Okay, because that was the only other thing I had, is it'd be wonderful if we had the chairs and we could do flexible arrangements, but if we are using a screen for a service and the screen is at one end of the building, that limits the way you can set your chairs if you're relying on the screen.
On the screens.
We got one over here too.
Well, and what a lot of congregations are going to now is getting away from screens, pull-down type screens,
Yeah.
and they're going to monitors on a swing arm. So you can put one in that corner, one over here, or somehow, or mount it on this, and you can swing it depending on your seating style. And and that seems to work well. The nice thing is the new projection is direct drive, basically. You know, you don't have projection anymore, it's all plug-in. And the other thing is, it's all LED screening. And there's two companies, one in Canada and one in the United States. They actually make panels, and you snap them together so you can make your monitor or your screen as big as you want it. You just keep plugging in these panels, and it's amazing. I was at a show about 6 months ago, and I looked at this thing and I go, wow, is that cool? And he goes, and you can just, it's like, what are those toys? Legos. You just snap the thing together and you can make the screen as big as you want or as small as you want. Yes?
2 questions. What about flooring, if you're moving chairs around? And do you have a place to store the extra chairs when you downsize?
We built 2 closets, chair width. So we can go in 3 deep with all our, when we stack them 8 high, we have dollies, little dollies. We stack them 8 high on the dolly and roll the dolly into these 2 small chair rooms, if you want to call it that. So we can put away 48, 3 and 3, 8 high, and close the door.
Okay. And then what, do you have
Flooring
carpet or-
I find most congregations are still staying with carpet. My home congregation, we also stayed with carpet. The music director, and I don't know if the music director is here today, but many times they go, oh, it's going to hurt the acoustics. We absorb sound more than usually the furnishings. So when a music director says, you know, the flooring, it's not going to give it a bounce, I'm going to go, well, you want us to all go home? Because we're absorbing sound. So the thing is, today, most congregations are going with a carpet. I would stay away from wood, laminated woods and that kind of thing, because you'll get the click, click, click of the heels, people dropping things, and especially if you have children in the service, you know, the Tonka truck, yeah, you got it, you know, bang, bang, bang. So you want to make sure that if you're going to deaden the sound at all, it's the flooring and not like banners on the walls and this kind of thing. Try to stay away from that kind of sound deadening. But the flooring, most congregations are going carpet. Some are going wood. I have one that wants to go stone. I'm going, no! But,
And are these chairs wooden or metal?
Yeah,
they're wood.
okay, so they're chairs similar to the one that's up there?
That is correct.
Okay, like the ones they have at Celebration.
And also look at the benches out there, the pew benches. My son passed away, he was in a wheelchair the last few months of his life, and so these spaces were just carved out, because the sanctuary was not wheelchair friendly.
Right.
Memorial Money bought those, and you know, that was pew benches from New Holland.
Right.
So
Yeah,
they got a lot of cool designs,
Oh,
but
they do.
not buying any
And-
furniture.
What he's saying is you can get, we bought single chairs. You can get 2-seat, 3-seat, 4-seat, if you want to keep a pew type setting. The problem with pew benches is it's hard to redesign the worship space because
No, that was just for this in case we need to be
Right,
over.
right.
So-
But that's why my home congregation, we went to single chairs,
yeah.
so we could move it around and create different things. Also, the other nice thing with having the space flexible with, let's just say chairs for now, is that you can create this when you need to. If you say, boy, it's going to be a real packed service, our ushers, we have 2 people in wheelchairs and we have a girl with MS that's in a powered wheelchair, so she's got the battery pack and the fat tires. So when we see them parking in the handicap spots, the ushers automatically just pull the chairs they need to. The other nice thing is we have a few elderly, just a few elderly in our congregation, and we have armed, you can get the same chair with arms. The normal ones we have are stackable with no arms. but we probably have 8 or 10 with arms for the people that need some assistance to push up, to stand up. And as soon as I see Alan or I see Charlie come in, we move one chair out, put the other chair in. It's just you gotta have good ushers.
Well,
Yes.